woman experiences chilling dreams that foretell ominous prophecies for her only son. Several times, these nightmarish visions have become a terrifying reality. Can the psychics stop the dreadful fate? And what bloody secret does the family hide? Welcome to Psychic Investigations, a project of true and astonishing stories. Here, people who call themselves clairvoyants investigate incredible paranormal phenomena and resonant criminal cases. This woman claims that her only son, who is now 23, is facing death. During her pregnancy, Viola had a dream that her son would die at this age. Since then, the mother has been living in fear.
If something happens to Vanya, there'll be no point for me to go on living.
The family resides in the capital of Ukraine. Viola is a housewife, and her husband and son are sailors. They are both currently at sea on separate voyages.
Vanya is a sailor. He's currently on a 6-month training voyage.
The young man is currently over 20,000 kilometers away in the Pacific Ocean, while his mother is tormented by a recurring nightmare about his imminent death.
In my dream, he crosses the road, and right before my eyes, a massive vehicle hits him.
The woman trusts her dream, as all her previous visions about her son have come true. For the first time, Viola dreamed that her child would lose his hair, and soon after, the toddler ended up in the intensive care, and indeed went bald within a week.
He was 3. He developed alopecia, hair loss. When they examined his body, his liver was enlarged by 5 centimeters.
It turned out that the hair loss was a symptom of a dangerous liver infection, which nearly took little Vanya's life.
We went through several courses of treatment. But after he recovered, I had another nightmare.
This time, Violetta saw Vanya falling out of a window. When she woke up in the morning, she rushed to the window and found her son on the windowsill. She barely managed to catch him, preventing him from falling from the 4th floor. The next vision foretold a tragedy involving water. Soon after, the boy dove into a river and seriously injured himself.
He dove and hit his head on the bottom. His collarbone crossed like this. If he had broken his neck, we would have never seen him again.
Each tragic incident was always preceded by the mother's chilling prophetic dream. Now, Violetta is certain that her only son is facing death.
I would like to ask for help. God forbid something happens to Vanya.
A tarot reader, Yana Pasinkova, and Azerbaijani psychic Kayal Alekperov have answered Violetta's call for her.
The mother is anxious about her son, but the cards say it's not the son who she should be worried about because it's he who will carry her coffin. She will die.
You are right. When I closed my eyes, I saw this woman covered in blood with her throat slit.
This is horrific. We're urgently assembling the crew and heading to Violetta's place.
I saw a woman. She was beautiful and had dark, curly hair. She took a knife and cut her hand, and black blood flowed from it. I don't know why it was black. I don't know this woman, but I had a feeling that I would meet her very soon. Hello, Violetta.
Hello. I'm worried about my son.
You should worry about yourself first, because it's you who will go first, and then your son.
Help me.
The psychics decide to work in Violetta's home. While the men are at sea, Violetta is having it renovated. A crew of workers is working in her apartment, so to avoid getting in the way, the film crew stays outside. The psychics go inside to tune in to the family's energy. Half an hour later, they return.
I've got enough information. Let's go outside. In Violetta's apartment, when I tuned into her husband, I didn't sense any danger over him. So, we need to search for the source of evil through the woman and her son. The source of the mortal danger is within you. I see you with your throat slit, and my jinns point to your neck. Oh Allah, are you wearing something from a deceased person on your neck?
I am. I put it on intentionally. This is my sister's scarf.
The psychics are shocked. It turns out that Violetta's younger sister, Oksana, passed away 5 years ago, and Violetta still doesn't know what happened to her. Violetta put on this scarf in the hope that they would be able to sense something about Oksana's death.
But your sister didn't just die. She was murdered.
She was murdered in 2 different ways.
It turned out that the woman was beaten with a hammer and then had her throat slit. But the psychics, upon arriving here, also saw Violetta with her throat slit.
I thought perhaps the younger sister paid the price for Violetta's life. Plus, I had a feeling that it was Violetta who was supposed to be killed, not Oksana. The only mystery was why her 23-year-old son was supposed to die.
I don't understand why, but your sister is furious with you. My jinns say she blames you for her death.
I don't understand it.
At that moment, I thought Oksana could be pulling Violetta and her son to the other world.
Only Oksana's spirit could answer our questions.
Your sister's spirit is most likely bound to the place where she was killed.
We need to see that place.
We can approach the building, but I'm not sure if we can enter the apartment. There are tenants living there.
Let's go.
Half an hour later, the psychics are at the high-rise building where the brutal murder took place 5 years ago.
Can you hear that? Sobbing, a woman's cry. Let's go upstairs.
The feeling takes the clairvoyant up the stairs. She stops on the 8th floor, where the late Oksana once lived.
It's your sister crying.
There are several apartments behind this door. One of them was Oksana's. Now, the apartment is rented to tenants.
We need to establish contact with Oksana's spirit. To do this, it would be best to get into the apartment or as close to it as possible.
Late Oksana's neighbor answers the door.
Can we work in your apartment? We'll try to contact Oksana's spirit through the wall.
Yes, of course.
It's going to be easier than in the hallway.
I tuned in to the day of the murder and saw Oksana. She was the woman from my vision, the one who cut her hand, and black blood flowed, but I still didn't understand what the black blood meant.
I hear my jinns. They say your sister was murdered over some valuable items.
I had a clear feeling that Violetta knew who killed her sister.
I see how it happened. He hits your sister from behind.
With a hammer.
Several times.
5.
I see the silhouette of a young man carrying her body.
Water is running. A knife. I get the impression he wants.
To wash off the blood.
The body was in the bath. Her head was facing the drain.
When the relatives arrived at the scene, Violetta was the first to enter the blood-soaked apartment.
The carpet was covered in blood. The walls were covered in blood. I went into the bathroom and found Oksana's body.
And now I see the young man holding a knife and cutting her throat. He wants to cut her into pieces.
I knew it. He was going to dismember her.
Violetta was very nervous. But when I saw the image of the murderer, and I couldn't believe my eyes, he looked like Violetta's son.
This is genuinely shocking. Could this woman's son really have murdered her sister? And is it the reason that Oksana's spirit seeks revenge?
He finishes her. She says, "Son."
Oh God. Her son did this. He severed his mother's head.
This is so horrific. Was Oksana really murdered by her own son?
He gave testimony and confessed to the murder.
Is he already serving his sentence? Why didn't you tell us right away?
I couldn't believe he was capable of such a thing.
At first, I thought the murderer was Violetta's son because both young men look similar. They are first cousins. They have the same blood running through their veins.
Her son. What's his name?
Herman.
She says she raised a beast, and she's partly to blame for it. Your sister spoiled her son and did everything for him because she loved him very much.
Yes, she loved him and cared for him.
For her, he was a child in every sense, even though he was already 20. She had to get up early, buy groceries, and cook for Herman for a week.
Oksana's husband left the family a few years before the tragedy, and she raised the boy on her own. When the parents were together, the family had enough. After the divorce, Oksana and her son had to tighten their belts.
With only his mother's salary, he obviously had some financial problems.
He didn't want to work and make money. He demanded money from his mother.
He stole from her and took things out of home.
He took her jewelry and pawned it. After Oksana found that her things were missing, they had a huge scandal.
That's why my djinn said she was killed over valuables.
Shortly before her death, Oksana told her sister about the argument with her son. Who could have guessed that the stolen jewelry would cost Oksana her life?
He took things from home, pawned them, and spent the money. In court, he said he needed the money to live.
All the relatives thought until the last moment that the police had beaten a confession out of the young man.
I visit him every month. He doesn't say anything and always changes the subject, claiming he never said a bad word about his mother.
I always thought they were a model family in terms of mother-child relationships.
Violetta apparently hoped that the psychics would sense some other murderer. That's why she remained silent about the fact that her nephew was already serving a sentence for this crime.
We found out who killed Oksana, but it was still unclear why she blamed her sister for her death and what force threatened Violetta and her son.
Kayal, can you tell me why she's angry with me? She came to me in a dream and told me she didn't want to talk to me.
Oksana says you shifted your misfortune on her.
There was magical interference through a fortune teller.
Do you mean it was supposed to happen to me?
But you went to see a woman. I see it.
Turn off the cameras. It's about my dream.
Violetta's behavior seemed strange to us. She wanted to tell the psychic something, but without witnesses. We did not record the conversation, but here we will convey its content. It turned out that Violetta had already had a prophetic dream about her death, and she really tried to ward off the disaster.
The only thing you achieved when you went to the fortune teller and ordered the ritual was that you only postponed your death. Do you understand this?
I'm aware of it.
You need to ask your sister for forgiveness. After all, because of the ritual you conducted, she died instead of you.
Violetta is shocked. She says she had no idea she could harm her sister. She only wanted to protect herself and her family from misfortune.
My djinn said that both sisters were to die. They both had the same curse hanging over them. But the older sister, Violetta, was to go first. However, she went to a wise woman who advised her what to do. I asked Oksana's spirit why death is hanging over all of you. And she said something about rape. Do you understand what this means?
I don't get it.
There is a rapist in your family.
Oksana says, ask our father.
When the conversation turned to the father, Violetta flinched. I was even afraid to imagine why.
The man is long gone. So we need to go to the cemetery and communicate with his spirit. There, you can also ask your sister for forgiveness for what you did.
The sisters spent their childhood in a small town near Kiev. Their mother still lives there, and one of the cemeteries holds the remains of their father and the late Oksana.
Oksana, hello, my dear. Please forgive me if you can. I only tried to protect my family.
We need to perform a ritual to calm her soul.
When Violeta asked her sister for forgiveness, I again had a strange feeling that she was hiding something important, and the black blood was somehow connected to it.
Your sister forgives you.
Thank you.
Now I see your father's spirit. He has something wrong with his leg. He seems to be limping.
Dad.
Let's go to him.
Why are you afraid? Explain to me. Why are you afraid of your own father?
He was a tyrant.
Violeta admitted that she always felt her father's dislike.
He would beat me. He whipped me with his officer's belt. His hatred was strong.
Then I thought, perhaps the father raped his daughters, but thank God, it wasn't like that.
Look, the dates of your father's and sister's deaths coincide.
Yes.
Both dates are the 30th. It's not a coincidence.
The coincidence of the figures, the dates, bothered me.
My daughter died on October 30th at 1:30 p.m. My ex-husband fell from the second floor and died. It also happened on October 30th at 1:30 p.m.
The man fell from the window. How it happened is a mystery to everyone. He was alone at home at the time.
I tune in to Violeta's father and understand what she is hiding. I see that this is not the first time in your family that a child killed their mother. He was a murderer of his mother.
My grandmother passed away. And I suspected that my father was involved.
This is a true nightmare. Did two women in the family die at the hands of their sons?
There was no one at home then, only him and her. She fell down the stairs, hit her temple, and the doctors pronounced her dead. No one called the police, and there was no investigation into her death.
When we had scandals here at home, I took the children and left. His mother apparently scolded him, and he pushed her off the second floor, and she killed herself.
Yana, what happened to the father and his mother repeated itself with Oksana and her son.
You have a family program. It's like your blood is infected.
This is the program of the family's self-destruction.
The black blood is the program of self-destruction.
Another spirit has appeared here now. It's an elderly woman. I hear her voice. She's crying. It's your grandmother. She says she is to blame for everything. She cursed him back when she was pregnant with him.
Could you please explain why?
Your father was conceived as a result of rape.
It's quite possible.
A man in power. Who is this?
Do you mean his father? He indeed held a high post, but he died at the beginning of the Second World War.
She hated the baby that was developing inside her. Do you understand?
As far as I know, his mother didn't love him as a child.
She wanted to get rid of her son. I see her at a cemetery performing some ritual.
She spent a lot of time at the cemetery.
It seems that Violeta's grandmother practiced magic, and her abilities were partially passed down to her granddaughter. That's why Violeta sees prophetic dreams.
Apparently, the woman wanted to get rid of the pregnancy through magic. She performed some ritual at the cemetery, but she failed to kill the baby, so she cursed the unwanted baby in anger.
A mother's curse has incredible power. This curse changed the child's energy, and the killer gene was born in him. Every boy in your family is programmed to kill his own mother.
You were also supposed to die at the hands of your own son. You just switched places in line.
Do you mean I'm next?
Yes.
Help me, please.
Let us perform a ritual, and then I will recite prayers for you for 40 days more.
The psychics worked with the woman for a long time.
I have tremors all over my body.
There are such karmic burdens that we cannot fully lift through rituals. From now on, everything will depend on higher powers. So Violeta and all the members of her family must attend church for the rest of their lives and atone for the sin of their grandmother.
Thank you so much for saving my life.
It's so horrifying. The despair of the poor raped woman launched a program of self-destruction for the family. If you're impressed by this story, give this video a like and don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Many more astonishing stories are coming up. A ghost is trying to take a young mother to the other world. An unbelievable investigation that will bring the psychics to the grave of the otherworldly murderer. Can the clairvoyance save the woman's life? 22-year-old Anita Almazova is asking the psychics for help. The young mother claims she's haunted by a deadly evil spirit that she saw at a cemetery 3 years ago.
I was a college student back then, in my final years. I needed to take a notebook with notes from another student. It was already late.
The girl from her course Anita needed to see to take the notebook lived in the dormitory. Anita was in a hurry, so she used a GPS navigator to find the shortest way.
I decided to take a shortcut through the cemetery. So I plugged in my earbuds and went. But in the middle of the cemetery, my phone turned off, though its battery was full. It was like I strode into an anomalous zone.
Suddenly she heard the bush between tombs crack.
When I looked around, I felt numb. It was something awful, with such long red eyes. My body went all numb, and I couldn't move or say anything.
Scared, the young woman squeezed her cross in her hand and ran home.
Ever since, I've felt the presence of otherworldly forces in my life.
A few days later, Anita saw the strange entity again, but this time it was in the apartment that she and her friend rented.
I went out of the bathroom and went to a room. I thought Ksusha was in there, but it was dark. I entered the room and asked, "Ksusha, is that you?" Nobody answered, so I turned on the light and saw the shadow disappear.
Anita got so terrified that she ran out of the apartment but tripped over the threshold and fell on the staircase, fracturing her knee.
My whirlbone got smashed. I lost a lot of blood.
Later, Anita met a young man named Alexander at work. The couple started living together, and soon they had a son, Artem. 3 months later, Anita got pregnant again with another boy. For a while, she thought the evil entity had left her alone. However, once, during a stroll with her son in the park, the young mother saw the awful silhouette in front of herself and fainted the next moment.
People revived me the best they could, giving me various meds.
But the following day, Anita felt sharp pain down her abdomen. Then there was an ambulance, a hospital, and the words that any mother fears to hear: "Your baby has died."
You see, throughout the pregnancy, all the doctors kept telling me everything was going well.
The doctors said that acute hypoxia was why the baby died in the 7th month of pregnancy. The baby's body stopped receiving oxygen. However, Anita is certain it was caused by the entity that's haunting her. Anita says that after her younger son was born dead, she was so depressed that she almost stopped talking to her husband. Anita left little Artem with her mother-in-law and left home.
I cried a lot because I was in awful pain. Finally, we broke up.
Now, the young mother is raising her son alone. She moved out of her husband's apartment and is now living in her relative's house in the countryside. But Anita fears that the mysterious evil spirit can kill little Artem at any time. The psychics are virtually her only chance to save his life.
I'm asking them for help because only they can do it.
The project's most powerful psychics, Rubina Tsibulska and Jana Shulakova, undertake the case. They agreed to meet Anita in the downtown.
I had a dream. In it, I saw a spirit of a man holding a dead infant in his arms. He told me I didn't want to do it. She called me herself. I don't get it who the dead man could be. And what did the dead baby mean? I even thought it could probably be Anita's son that she recently lost.
When I tuned into the photo, I saw a strange picture. Anita was lying on the ground in front of you. She wasn't breathing or moving.
So awful. Is she dead?
I don't know. The worst thing is that the vision shows our future.
Hello?
Hello, I fear for my and my child's lives. Please help me, I beg you.
Hold on, my darling.
Can I have your hands? Suddenly, I saw a picture of a baby. Anita was holding it in her arms. In the vision, she was a child of about 10. I see you walking out into the street with a baby in your arms, begging for money and food. And the baby is related to you.
It's my sister. Yes, I did this. I went to my neighbors. Some gave me milk, and others gave me some other things for my sister. I was little back then. I've never seen my father in my life.
And her mother was always away. The woman devoted all her time to her affairs.
Our mother could come back home briefly after being 2 days away, and then be gone again.
Next to you, I see a man who treated you with warmth. You regarded him as your father, though he wasn't your relative.
It must be your stepfather, right?
Yes.
I feel that he appeared in your life before your younger sister was born, and you started begging.
It turned out that when Anita was 5, her mother started living with a man named Alexander. He took the place of the dad for the little girl.
He replaced me, both mother and father, everyone.
But several years later, Anita's mother started spending her nights away from home again. However, the stepfather didn't leave his family and continued to raise the girl.
I even remember one evening when he came back from work and said, "Let's go to the rides." We were at the rides and ate ice cream, and he bought me balloons. To put it short, I had a really happy childhood before he died.
I feel that your stepfather was murdered brutally.
Yes.
It's so awful.
It happened when Anita was 9. The man worked as a night security guard at a plant bakery. This was where he was attacked.
They murdered him to take the cash from the vault. After he died, my life literally turned into hell.
It turned out that the neighbors to whom Anita went to ask for money and food told the social service about it. They noticed the mother had neglected her children. As such, the girls were taken to an orphanage.
The mother refused from us. She filed a document with the official refusal, and she never came back.
Looking at Anita, I saw her as a little girl, standing by the window of the orphanage and repeating the same phrase, "Dad, come back."
It's always been my only dream. I really miss Dad. I miss his support, his care and attention.
Anita has been through so much pain and suffering, and now her own life is in danger because of some evil spirit. Anita, you know this otherworldly force is next to you all the time. It appears that it's always standing behind you. Do you feel it?
I feel a gaze on me. I feel touches.
When was the first time you felt it?
Where was it?
There's a cemetery on the hill, but it was closed long ago.
We needed to go there to work.
The psychics arrived there 15 minutes later.
The mirror is showing me that you saw the entity somewhere here.
Yes. It was standing here and here and here. It had huge red eyes.
She saw the owner of the cemetery.
My goodness, the owner of the cemetery is a highly powerful entity that makes sure the dead are undisturbed. Meeting the spirit is very dangerous, and if you anger it, you're doomed to die.
Are you the force that's haunting her? No. She didn't bother the dead, and he's not haunting her. It's not him.
Suddenly, I realized something. The spirit that stuck to Anita weakened her energy greatly, and it attracted various dark forces to her. A woman has something to do with it.
Did you have a conflict with anyone?
As students, my friend and I rented an apartment, and yes, we had a conflict.
What's her name?
Ksusha.
She's connected to a young man you loved a lot.
I see a love triangle. It seems like the guy left you for her.
Yes, this is right.
Anita met Ivan 5 years ago. She did a part-time job as a waitress after college, and her shifts ended late. So she had to wait for a bus, standing at a bus stop for a long time. The couple met on one of such nights.
He came up and offered to call me a taxi. I said, no, thanks. We started talking, found out each other's names, and exchanged phone numbers.
The young man still called the taxi and paid the driver. And an hour later, he phoned Anita and asked her out.
I feel that you always discussed your love with your friend, with whom you shared the apartment.
Yes, I told her everything, like she was my sister.
And then you had a quarrel.
Yes. She took him away. She found him on social media and started communicating with him, and then they started going out secretly.
It seemed that the entity that haunted Anita had been summoned by someone, and I suspected her ex-friend might have done.
I see that you saw evil spirits in the apartment you used to share with that friend many times.
Yes.
You saw an entity with huge blue eyes and horns on its head. It was like a demon.
Yes, it happened. I came home and saw a devil. It looked exactly like in pictures and had awful horns.
We need to see the apartment that you and your friend used to rent.
The landlady went to live abroad, and her daughter sold it.
I see a woman conducting a ritual in the apartment. She summons the entity that you saw. The woman doesn't live here anymore. She left.
Could it be Ksusha?
Look, the cards are telling me this entity has an extensive victims count, and that it's present here, like it's walking these stairs.
I have a feeling of being called by someone.
Then we'll have to split. I'll go upstairs and you go downstairs.
No sooner had I started going downstairs, then I felt being watched by someone invisible, and I wasn't the only one to feel it.
I feel presence. It's so incumbent, like...
My mirror is showing me 2 men from this building. Each of them committed suicide at his home.
The landlady told me that people hung themselves here.
2 men. A female voice ordered them to do it. It forced them to kill themselves. I needed to go upstairs and find out what Jana felt.
Rubina, I saw a young man who... You know, his gaze was foggy and he took a step. Just one step into the abyss. He fell down.
The landlady told me somebody from the 8th or 9th floor jumped out of the window.
I heard him follow a very beautiful female voice.
I also felt it. It all happened because of a force that was probably bound to Anita. I decided to take a risk and summon the deadly spirit that lived in the building. I needed to understand what it was. Who are you? Show yourself. Jana, look. It's a demon and it's female. Look at her blue eyes. They're hypnotizing. She's unwell. Water, water.
And I suddenly realized this was the vision I'd had before the investigation. Anita lying in front of you.
What does she want from me?
Wait. I feel that she was summoned by a woman who wanted to avenge on her husband. But she didn't send her back.
So it wasn't Ksusha?
No. An adult woman did it. She summoned the entity long before you saw it for the first time. And the demon stayed in this building, killing men. She doesn't want you.
It meant a totally different entity was bound to Anita.
The demon was bound to the building. I recited a gypsy spell and sent her to the netherworld. However, I couldn't understand where the entity that haunted Anita came from or who summoned it.
I suddenly heard the sound of photo flashes. And then I saw a picture. It's like a picture in which I see a ghost. It's on a phone.
Yes. It was in the spring, when I went to Dad's grave. His photo on his gravestone is the only thing I have left from him. So, I took a picture of the tombstone. At home, I was looking at Dad's photo and started zooming in. And there, I saw a figure.
Unfortunately, Anita lost her phone. It kept all the photos, but the young mother insists that the figure she caught with her camera bore a striking resemblance to her stepfather.
I was impressed. Was Anita's stepfather haunting her? But why would the man come back from the netherworld to haunt his stepdaughter, whom he loved so much? I feel that you came to the cemetery after the sunset.
Yes.
You cried and were devastated energetically. It had something to do with your mother.
Yes, I found her in 2017, after I graduated from college. But she told me to leave, saying, "Forget you have a mother, and I'll forget I have children."
Anita's energy was greatly diminished by the stress she had experienced. And in this condition, she went to the cemetery, and on top of that, she did it after the sunset when evil spirits walk the earth. I thought an otherworldly entity could have stuck to her. Before it's too late, we've got to go to the cemetery.
Hi, Dad. Hi, son.
God, Anita, be brave, be brave.
I started tuning in and felt that a spirit clung to Anita right at that spot. This is him, it's your stepfather.
But he loved me like his own daughter.
Why is he haunting Anita?
I hear some words. A woman pronounces them. It's like a spell. She binds him with this spell.
Alexander, tell me, who summoned you? Anita summoned me.
What? Did you summon him from the other world to stay with you?
Yes, I said, "Dad, I miss you so much." Could I probably have summoned him with these words?
No. You said come back. Did you?
Yes, I did. I only had one dream after Dad's death. I wanted him to live again.
When you asked him, Out of despair and pain, you came here as your last hope. There was a powerful splash of emotions. Those words made the spirit come back from the other world, as the stepfather loved Anita.
The presence of your stepfather's spirit next to you provoked deadly situations in which you found yourself and exhausted you energetically. This is why different entities started clinging to you, and due to that, you started losing even more force. Your second son died because of it, since you physically had no power to birth the baby. And then I realized it was Anita's stepfather that I'd seen at the beginning of the investigation. I saw a spirit of a man holding a dead infant in his arms. He told me I didn't want to do it. She called me herself.
Help me. Tell me what to do to let his soul go, so he finds peace and doesn't scare me anymore.
The thing is, since you summoned him, it's you who's supposed to send him back. There's nothing wrong with going to your relatives' graves to talk to them. But you must never call the dead into our world, asking them to come back. We've opened a portal to the other world for your stepfather's spirit. Now you can address him.
Dad, I'm so sorry. Please forgive me for summoning you. I love you, Dad. And I really miss you. You were closer to me than my biological father. And I will always remember you, Dad. Rest in peace.
The father's spirit smiled and disappeared.
Nothing is threatening you now.
You're indeed mighty psychics. I don't know how to thank you. I'm sure that after today's events, my life will change, and my son will be all right.
This is incredible. Feeling desperate and hurt, the woman went to her stepfather's grave to pour her soul out, but instead, she almost lost her own life. If you're impressed by the story, don't forget to give this video a like and subscribe to our channel. Many more striking investigations are ahead.